Happy Wednesday. Who would like to lead us this morning?
Okay, I will lead. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, January 8th, or at least to those here in Chicago, in the US. A normal process will go from top left down, 2 minutes, provide an update on what you're working on. If you have any blockers, and an update on what you've accomplished so far. We're excited to hear the many things of progress that we've all been doing. So we'll start with you, Ashley.
I wrote some more articles for the newsletter and I started getting into Plannable and scheduling posts for LinkedIn and X for January, well as for February with some of the things that had already been shared by other team members. So that way that content doesn't go to waste. And then I am doing some additional article writing this week, and doing some case studies based on past presentations as well. And no blockers.
Ashley, if you want to schedule. Oh shit. Ashley, if you want to schedule some time after stand up to redirect the subdomain to your new blog, I'm happy to help with that if that would be helpful.
I'm not sure what you mean, but I will reach out.
Like getting your blog on our website.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
And then what are the two articles, Ashley?
Well, the two case studies I'm working on, we posted the SpaceX one yesterday, and going to work on the Finta one next. We've also done just industry articles. One of them was Coca-Cola. We've also kind of targeted Deloitte and other companies to try to generate some discussion on LinkedIn.
Based on relevant news, and then tagging the companies, the organizations, and the news outlet to generate even greater engagement. So basically, riding the ripples or the waves that these monster media outlets are already producing. So we have one already live. It's on LinkedIn. I encourage everyone to go in there and set comments, provide engagement. I tagged a friend of mine who was at Coca-Cola. She's reading it and reviewing it. She's a brand manager there at Coca-Cola. We all need to be doing the same. So this is a great start. All right, Avi, go ahead.
Thank you, Pablo. I am working on scheduling conferences for the next couple of months. We are not going to Davos this year, but we were invited as the entrepreneur 100 or startup 100 by the owner of the project. And then we're also going to be going to Quirks and SampleCon in California and Quirks in New York, and maybe also Chicago. We should talk about that. I've been working on recruiting. There's been a bunch of like HR stuff. There's this like annoying Jack Welch quote that says being an executive is 70% HR, and so I'm trying to get a bunch of paperwork turned around for all kinds of school things and different permissions. Sarah, I might need your help with that. I forwarded you another one this morning. I started working on our investor materials for our AngelList syndicate, which I would like to get to Kevin today. I will get that to Kevin today. Yeah, and that's it. That's it.
It's very exciting stuff as we start the fundraising campaign, and bring more awareness to the company. I think the more attention we bring in, I think, frankly, the more engagement we're going to get and the more leads. It won't take long for us to really, I think, go viral based on the amount of intellectual horsepower and assets that we have. So I'm excited for that. Atish, you jumped straight to the top, so you'll be next.
Oh, my bad. Um, so I finished up the data, pulling it in. So on the API, so the user provides the traits and the trait levels they want, or gender, let's say like gender only males, income between 50,000 and 70,000, number of children in the household 1 to 3, etc. And then I pull from the CSV and check, do we have enough people, as in above 500 individuals that in the criteria. If we do all good, I just pass back that we do. If we don't, I expand the trait levels. So like for income, 50 to 70,000, and we're only 300 people, maybe come to 40 and 80,000, and that gets us over 500, and then pass that back to the front end. And yeah, so now the only blocker is the CSV file is pretty massive, so we'll probably have to figure out another way to pull that into the data, pull that into the program, and just some other cleanup stuff. But yeah, that's all.
Atish, can we have a meeting with Yumi and Sabot? Because I'd like to understand, or I'd like to help kind of write out a couple of tickets for the plan for the new traits, the new trait selection, and just make sure that that some of our existing assets are used, or at least queued up so that we can run some existing assets in an experiment to see if we can improve the Spearman R.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Also, nice work.
All right, Florian, you're up next.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So right now I'm working on the motivations for personas in the survey, given the attributes that we generate in the survey. So yeah, so basically for the attributes generated in the survey, the motivations are sort of like the latent factors that affect someone's dispositions to these attributes. So then once we have the motivations, I also generate a couple of questions that we can ask to these personas to gauge how susceptible they are to the latent factors. Besides working on this, I'm working with Atish on the CICD unit test for the human baseline. And we talked about it, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, and we're going to get to implementing it.
And that's effectively like a unit test of rerunning experiments versus rerunning a set of human baselines and looking at the average Spearman R.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it also important to see the standard deviation of Spearman R? Like one thing I'm irritated by is that after doing this for a year or so, I still have no intuition on which experiments will result in a high Spearman R versus a low Spearman R, and that makes me sad.
So one thing we discussed, me, Florian, and Spode, was in our testing suite, we would also include configurations along with before a change and after a change. So we could see which set configuration plus our change results in like the best Spearman R. And so maybe that can get us the intuition you're looking for.
Beautiful. Have you looked at the sweeps functionality in Weights and Biases?
We have not yet. Florian, did you? I didn't get to that.
No, not yet.
Yeah, the sweeps functionality is designed to do what you're describing. So it's effectively hyperparameter tuning at scale. And so if our hyperparameters are, configurations of experiment types right? This is like the experimenting on experiments discipline. And our measure of goodness is the R squared. Weights and biases can kind of optimize Spearman R for us. The only problem is, in order for get sweeps to get sweeps to work, we have to have multiple runs per experiment, and I don't think we have that capability right now. Not that we don't have that capability, we purposefully limit one run per experiment in weights and biases. So maybe sweeps had a big upgrade last summer. Maybe the new version of sweeps lets you sweep across experiments instead of across runs. But that's something to watch out for.
Also, I had a bit of a blocker earlier today where all my Python files in Visual Studio Code turned into C Python files for some reason, so I couldn't open them. After restarting Visual Studio Code, the stuff I was working on turned all into Python files again, but some of them are still C Python files, so if anybody could help me out there.
Weird that it did on its own.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I created more branches as well, and it still did the same thing.
We can go through it after stand-up.
Perfect, thank you.
So I think I'm the
Andre?
next.
Yep. Take it
Yeah.
away, Lucy.
So I worked on creating some market engagement for us on Reddit community, and I ran some experiments to create some intriguing posts that are ready to be posted on different subreddits. And also, what I did is instead of posting, I went into the direct marketing way. So I went down into subreddits like small businesses and like startups, and I specifically find threads that are related to market research advice, or like question about market research, or like suggestions on the company they currently have, and I replied to them and giving them some advice based on the product we have, and also I give them suggestions on market research tools, basically like offering like resources to them. And a couple of people replied and said they will definitely give it a shot. And I think that's like pretty effective. I will keep doing that today.
What's some of the feedback you're getting so far? Early feedback.
Yeah. So one person specifically said like they will give it a shot. I think. I also put all the links in the chat too. So like, you guys are also free to check it out if you want.
Lucy, so what would be the next step? So is a link shared to schedule a demo? Are we gonna ingest their contact information and then that's pushed to sales? What does that look like?
I'm not really sure about that because I did replied and they said they will like give it a shot or maybe like try it, but I'm not sure if they like I don't know how to track their if they sign up or not, or like if they like at the end. Yeah, I'm not sure how to track that.
Got it. Seems like we need to come up with a plan to be able to ingest leads like that, or track and ingest and carry that forward.
Well, there's no links. I think the closest thing we can do is just like search for people who like are visiting us or who like, I think in Google Analytics we can see
Mm-hmm.
what the previous page was that they came to visit us from. But whenever we
Mm-hmm.
post links on Reddit, we get flagged.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see, I see, I see.
yeah,
Oh, okay. That's tough. Okay.
yeah.
Huh. But we can post assets like PDFs and stuff. Is that what we did as well? Or
No,
can't
PDFs
even
are
do that?
not allowed, and some communities doesn't even allow images. So it's like a hard way to like get through all of that. And most communities they don't allow any like self promotion or any like advertising.
Right,
So we have to be like really careful and not get detected.
right.
Yeah,
Yikes. It seems like a interesting space to play and to play in. Let's keep trying for the next few weeks, but then make an assessment of whether this is a path forward.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Got it. I'll put some thought too on how we can ingest, or I guess, and I agree with Avi, we can track it through Google Analytics to a degree, at least some degree of traffic as a source. All right.
yeah.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
Madi, the magician.
Thank you. So yeah, this week I worked on the API versioning. I add API versioning to our API. Now we can have now we have API version 1, and then we can have version 2 without removing the current API. So this maintains the backward compatibility, and we can like deprecate them, but it's still usable for backward compatibility. And yeah, this is done. Yeah, and then I worked on the human baseline and the attributes and labels prompt with Subut and Hadi. I let them talk about it. And yeah, uh, I am working on the bug fixing and making the application ready for release. So
This is dev to test.
no, test to production. And yeah, also about the API versioning and backward compatibility. I saw a useful package that we can deprecate the function, even functions, not just the API endpoints. So that might be helpful also. So
Which
it um,
what does that mean? Deprecate the functions.
so instead of removing the whole function, we just deprecate the function. We just have a decorator in Python that says this function is deprecated and will be replaced or something like that. So, but for backward compatibility, we still keep that. So this is something cool that I saw today. So we might add it. And one thing for Avi, the weights and bias support contacted me, emailed me, and also messaged me on LinkedIn and said that your product manager, which he mean Avi, does not have time to until January 15, so we should have a call. So he sent me a link, scheduling link to schedule a time with them, and they support. He support us on Western bias.
Oh, that's nice. Can he teach us about sweeps?
Uh, so
Is he
he's yeah.
technical? Is it technical support?
Um, So he said that I am the person who will support you on Western bias, and he's the one that we should uh, get into it. So I think I'm not sure about. Let me check the email, and then I will say if he is technical.
Okay, good. That'd be helpful. Because there's a lot of things in weights and biases that we're not using.
Yeah. Also, the pagination is a huge issue for us, which we can bring in.
Yeah, I talked to Tushar about potentially building a Meli search cache of all the weights and biases tasks, or all the weights and biases artifacts, which, you know, that's going to be a big effort, but if we could stand that up, that's going to solve a lot of problems. But that might be overkill.
Yeah, there is something else that we might do. I'm not sure. I didn't want to take the stand-up time.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but we can discuss. Yeah, let's continue.
Awesome. Thank you, Maddie, as always. Mia.
Hey. So I helped Sarah work on a pitch deck yesterday and then early this morning, and now I'm starting to do made a list of like B2C companies to like reach out to, and I'm gonna start reaching out today on LinkedIn to like a chief of marketing and some like creative directors, because I feel like that would be more targeted, and also figure out, do like some like research to help format my like LinkedIn messages to be more like personal than like just like selling something or just trying to have like get to like a conversation, basically. So that's what I've been working on.
Thank you. And Mia, let's all give her a warm welcome to, this is her first week here as a member of Subconscious. So thank you. All right. I'll go next really quick. Had 3 demos yesterday. All of them are likely to produce a deal, which is fantastic. Have another big one today. We are going to be pushing Subconscious and to have a partnership with Cap Table Coalition. They have over 65 portfolio companies. So I have to write the language now, and I'm meeting with the head of that organization to push that literally today. I'm in the board for that organization, so it was a good pull. We also are going to be pushing the same type of content to over 25,000 Latin professionals associated with what is called Tequeria. It's like this massive Slack group. And so I'm going to be active in pushing that forward. I know the president and the founder of that organization. So that's going to be coming in today again. And then pretty much 75% of the day is interviews. Yeah, long day of interviews, long week of interviews, to be honest. All right, and I will pass it over to Sarah.
Oh, should we ask this group if they have anyone who wants to interview? Should we share the posting?
Yeah, feel free. I mean, I think that's a great idea. Put it on the chat. So if you see anyone.
Hiring, okay, for what position?
We can't hear you, Sarah. We want to hear you. Sorry.
It's for sales, for like
For sales.
Outreach, account execs. We're ideally looking for folks who are who have a Rolodex.
Sounds good. So me and I have been working on a pitch deck mechanic is so we could show as a demo at the end of the meeting today. It's not done yet, but yeah, we can share like what we have so far. It's kind of cute. We keep getting new cute ideas and adding them to the demo. So we're trying to make it like a journey, like to share the story instead of having like slides where it's like, okay, here's the competition and then here's the like, instead of having it be like chunky, we're trying to have it like have a flow, like a hero's journeys, which is fun. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know, Pablo, were you also working on this? Did you have like a separate one, or do you want to just add to the one that we have too?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Have you also been working on a separate pitch deck, or do you want to help collaborate with what we have so far?
Yeah, I have no idea what you guys are working on. I have my own that is live that we're pushing to customers. We need to be aligned. So I'd love to see what that asset looks like if you can send it to me.
Well, no, it's a different. That's a different asset. The asset for customers and the asset for investors are.
Sorry, so sorry. Thanks, Avi, for clarifying. Yes, please send it to me.
Okay, I was thinking, I don't know if anybody could hear me, but I was thinking of doing it as a demo, like sharing what we.
Great. I love that idea, actually, Sarah. That's a great point. Yeah, let's do that after.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
prepare for that. Great idea. Thank you. All right, let's push it to Subodh. Really nice background, Subodh. What is this?
I just moved down from my attic to first floor.
Those are upgrades.
Yeah, it's upgrade. The attic looks on the back side of the house. This one is the front view, I guess. Okay, so in terms of work, by tomorrow we should be able to, or will be able to run the effect coded human baseline as well from by tomorrow onwards. And today we did some work on the human baseline. So I think the issue that Avi, you keep saying that some error bars are wrong. It's nothing wrong in the code. It's just that the transcription was wrong. Instead of writing the standard error, they have written the t-stat. So basically, Hardy is going through all the experiment where it looks weird, and then we are going through the paper and making sure the t-stats are not written as standard errors. And so then we also change the way we read the human baseline number. So instead of reading from 1 dB now, every time we'll read from the GitHub directly. So any change we make will be automatically reflected in the UI going forward. So hopefully by tomorrow, all the experiment that looks nonsense at least should start making sense. And I think I've got a new task for Tatavik. She must have received from Madi already that relates to we allowing for more than 2+1 configuration in the choice task. We'll be going all the way up till 6+1, which will be a function of the attribute and labels. So I think somewhere we ran into issue into the R code. So once Tatavik is done with that, we will have the full flexibility, because that should increase a number of opt-out that we have generally. In some context, we have like 50 to 60% of the choices being opt-out. Sarah was showing me one example yesterday for, I think, Advent calendar, and there's like 50% opt-out. So if there's like a 50% opt-out, then that automatically means the variance explained is going to be very low, which in that case was 25%. So if we provide more options, that should at least improve the number of opt-out to be low and hence better able to explain the variance. So hopefully we'll do the same experiment, Sarah, by tomorrow once we have the whole thing fixed and see if that improves the R square as well. And we'll also have the option to do the null label as well by tomorrow in the dev. And so the only thing that I have to balance a bit. I'm testing between allowing for a maximum of one configuration to have, so the one option should maximum of only have one attribute missing, because I think if we start going 2 or 3, it will mess up. So even with one, we will be able to get the MC for every label, which is what basically our end deal is. So that's the best trade-off between flexibility and number being sensible. So all of these things will be in the dev by tomorrow as well. So yeah, that is it.
Wow. So that's huge.
Really, really exciting stuff. And please encourage everyone. It takes a village here. Everyone is a QA QC, as in, please go to test and, you know, run as many experiments as you can, click on as many buttons as you can. Please, I cannot tell you how important that is, because if it goes into production and it breaks, that is our responsibility. Okay? And it kills, it hurts. So this is our time to protect us before it goes to production. So
I'm finding some folks are starting to comment in our, not starting to, but we're getting comments in our public channels about experiments disappearing. That old bug again, where they do the experiment and then they send the experiment and then it disappears.
Yeah. So
we'll get it. We'll squash it.
First way to solve a problem is knowing you find one, right? So we're on our way to kind of like move forward. We have paying customers now. They're literally subscribing. They're paying monthly. So we really have to hone in and make sure production is always up to par. So thank you. I'm so excited that we got to this phase where this can happen. So I cannot tell you how difficult it is to be at this stage and to protect it. So thank you. This is more of a congratulations than anything, and an inspiration for everyone to lean in. So cool. Tatavik.
Happy Wednesday. So since the Monday stand-up, I went through the hunting channel. Up to this point, whenever issue was posted there, it's all resolved and pushed to dev. The most exciting thing I came across was now the R Shiny is UTF-8 approved. So whatever fancy attribute names we have in the Shiny dashboard, they will be displayed correctly. I have one question concerning Subodh's remark. I received the file Madi sent me. I didn't notice there were like multiple alternatives because the issue was like somewhere else. I fixed that, but now I will go through to make sure it recognizes the alternatives correctly.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't no issue there, so I didn't pay attention to that part.
Yeah, I think somewhere you probably had it opt out as C hard coded. I think in the R code, that's probably was throwing the error because it keeps saying looking for C, looking for C.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. That's all on my part.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatavik. Atish, I think, already went. Florian already went. Hadi.
Hello everyone. Good morning. This week mostly I was going through human baseline experiments to find an issue with that. So today we circuit to both and Mahdi and fixed some of them. Like I've seen a lot of the experiments we added, they are not replicated. That's why it was returning null, like no data returning for that. So I've removed the remaining ones. And also, I will check again all the experiments. If I find any issue, we'll be fixing it.
That might be, Hadi, now that that's Thank you for fixing that. When you're ready, maybe can you give Mia and Lucy and Ashley a tutorial on the human baselines, and maybe they can promote it to our various channels, because we have a lot of different domains there. Yeah. And some of those replication results are indistinguishable. Like it's proving our claims. Indistinguishable from human.
Yeah, sure.
Very nice.
Awesome. Kari, Mari, Rupesh.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. Sorry for not being available for 2 days. I'm getting a little recovered now. I'm happy to be here with the team again. And coming to the task, I will be working on the pending card issue, like to stop making a numerous amount of requests to the network, which will actually help our system. Like keeping in mind the growth in the users, it could be a very feasible solution. Yeah, that's it about the tasks. I'll be working on that today. Thanks.
Welcome back, Rupesh. We missed you.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Yes, welcome back, and glad that you're feeling better or starting to. And then last but not least, never least, Suhani.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. This week I worked on writing template code for causal algorithms and EDA functions that will be used in the Jupyter Lab environment. I tried using the Visro library that Subodh suggested in Monday Stand-Up, and it produces really good simulations. But I've been facing a connection issue while trying to run the EDA code. So I'll be connecting with Santi to resolve this issue.
Rupesh and Madi may be able to help also, and if we really need some big guns, feel free to use the Duplo Cloud resources also.
Sure.
Let's sit after stand-up. We go through the issue.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Suhani. I think that's it. Is there anyone that I missed? I try not to. Okay. As another update, I know Tushar and I working together to build out a partnership page. He already did a POC. It looks actually really awesome. We had the content already developed, or that's already set. We have the HubSpot form already set, so that'll be ingested into our CRM. That'll notify the rest of the team moving forward. So we should be moving in very quickly. We'll have a page dedicated to partnerships and program partnerships, and another page dedicated to affiliate marketing. So partners that want to refer, clients for us, and they should just be great leads for us. So that is coming through, and I will now hand it over to Sarah to do an exciting.
Real quick, Pablo.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Excellent work on the partnerships page. Yesterday, I was on a call with the University of Chicago's Emergence Accelerator, and they want to put us in their accelerator package alongside Google and Brex and Carta as a service. So I was like, oh great, we have a partnership page. So very nice work. Computer, turn on the ring light.
Very, very cool. Actually, that is timely. And I know Connor also is building something with the University of Pennsylvania, and soon to be, hopefully, we'll have University of Texas and Rice, because Ashley is making headway on that front as well. So let's get that through. These are all great schools. Oh, and of course, we have the University of Notre Dame, who will be playing Penn State this Thursday and hopefully kicking their ass. we have a professor who's like giving us 6 leads, corporate leads, and we'll also have Avi hopefully attend next quarter as a speaker at the university. So lots of headway there. All right, Sarah.
Oh, okay, wait, I have to leave and come back because it's not letting me share. One sec.
While she does that, I posted a nice article in the Get Smart channel. More evidence supporting our thesis.
Okay. It starts off strong, and then at the end, like, you guys can help me fix it. Like, the financials and traction, like, Pablo was better for that. Okay. But okay, I'm just gonna start. So, we have, like, a little script for Avi. And it starts right here. Okay. I don't know, should I just read it? I'll just read it. I don't know. Do I read it?
Sure.
I'm Avi. I'm the founder of Subconscious. Today I'll take you on a journey that starts with a simple question, why, and ends with a vision to transform how humanity addresses its biggest challenges. After leaving my last company, I was in a world of frustration. I realized the world is facing a paradox. We know the stakes of climate change, yet our collective response remains disjointed and insufficient. And then there's a little polar bear. And that's Avi, looking through the little glass. Okay. I want to understand why. Why do humans fail to act on critical issues even when the evidence is clear? This question became the foundation of Subconscious AI. At the time, I was also thinking about what makes human cognition special, and I came up with a theory. Humans are the only species that ask why.
I didn't come up with that, but...
Well, you can edit that. And then we have, like, your subtle flex. Yeah.
Wait, that's funny.
Isn't it cute?
That's really funny. That's funny.
They could yeah, okay. Humans are the only species that can ask why. This capacity for curiosity and causal reasoning has driven incredible progress, but its complexity is also the reason why building a computer to think the same way as humans was yet to be done. And with fair reason. Understanding why means you have to also understand human motivations, which is difficult data to collect in a controlled experiment. And this is one of my favorite memes. And then I filled it in. It's like the same meme, but like under answers, you see like Subconscious AI and like other AI tools. We spent years building a solution, a language model customized to understand the why. It doesn't just process data, it simulates human decision making, uncovering the motivations that drive action. Okay. So
that's good. You tie it together with the action at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Good language.
And then, so I started my journey building a tool to solve this problem and collected some amazing people along the way to join the mission. And then it's like, let me share what we built together, which is leading into like the part that isn't so good in the pitch yet, but like explaining the product just like a little bit. And then obviously we can change who we want to put here, but this was from like the old slide, so I just added people, but it shows visually, yeah, little person on a journey, and then all these people like want to join. Okay, cute. So this is like the part that we could use help with. I thought like a way to, we want to make sure that we are answering why ChatGPT can't answer these questions. So I thought maybe just explaining it verbally as like, this is the gist of like their box versus our box. And then giving visual representations for like how a different LLM will think and then how ours will. And I don't think this is the perfect image, but the idea. So it's like an outline. And then, of course, this is an important slide with the human baseline. I thought this was funny. Somewhere we can say the process, but that needs to be cleaned up. And then the next part, we'll talk about like the competitive landscape generally, the current. So basically, we go up and like setting the journey, and then we want to merge it into, I'm skipping a little bit. I'm trying to find my ground. We want to bring it back to reality by saying like, okay, we have the picture about climate change, and then, but like, here's how it, like, here's how we're going to basically make money, which is going to be like these slides. And then we're going to talk about the 3 weaknesses, like the costs, like the high costs, and then this slide will be about long times, and then traction, and then like some cute vision with like this image. So that's the gist. It's not completely done yet. You can see it gets weaker, but that's what I have to share. Any questions?
Have you read that iceberg is melting?
About the iceberg melting?
Have you read that book?
No, I haven't.
It's a very short book on basically on change management, but it equates complex change management rules into a parable about some penguins trying to, keep an iceberg alift. And that's what this reminds me of. So I think it's a really useful method of storytelling to equate complex concepts into simple and memorable concepts that people can, digest. I also Googled a research paper on, what is the difference, and basically ChatGPT will just hallucinate correlation between things that doesn't exist necessarily. So they can explain causally, but they can't actually equate causal or like have causal inference.
You can also talk about the say-do gap, and then we have an example of the difference between like a regular LLM's response and our responses.
Yep.
I like. Thank you for sharing an early version. Thank you for not waiting until the end. That's very good. That's
And Mia helps a lot with cute ideas and stuff. So.
All right, very good, team. Any other demos that we want to highlight? Thank you, Sarah. Go ahead, Madi.
I just want to make it short, just the versioning API. So now you're seeing that. Okay, first, can you see my screen?
It's loading for me.
Loading. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So we added this versioning API/version1, and then these are the version 1. Then we can add up version 2 on top of it separately, and for example, we can deprecate this, but do not completely remove this. Gives the ability. And also, what else? Some refactor on the API. So for example, we have, for the version 1, we have the endpoints, the helpers, the schema, so everything is clearly organized now. So yeah, that's it.
very nice, Madi. Good work.
Exciting.
Madi,
Anything?
question. This might be might be I don't know what the cost benefit of this is, but does it make sense to reuse any of the attributes and levels kind of generation and APIs, or at least process for generating attributes and levels for generating persona and persona traits? I imagine at some point people will ask us to vary the when and the where as well. And right now, like, the when, the where, the who, and the what are all kind of separate APIs and separate pipelines. Is there a way to reuse any components across those four experimental design efforts?
Okay, this is actually a good question. So you're saying that okay, when, where, okay, if we can reuse them. So the attributes and labels. So clearly we can reuse the attributes and labels. So this is the first part. And I am not clear about when and where and how we reuse them. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, right now we don't. Like, if we think about the experimental design, and this is maybe more for Sabota and maybe not for stand-up, but when and where and who and what are all effectively like modifications to an experimental design. They're variables. They're all independent variables that we want to test in a controlled way. And right now, like, where is a single string, like when is like a number, the who is like a list, and then what is like this JSON. It's kind of, is there some benefit? I don't know if there's a benefit, but is there some benefit to kind of like reusing some of our infrastructure? Because the idea is like, I should say our claim is that we have agents that are performing the experimental design, and while we do have agents that go off and figure out the what in the attributes and levels, in the same way can we have agents eventually go out and figure out the who, looking at the 10,000 data points available on any individual and figuring out which attributes we want to test. And then maybe the same for the what and the where. I'm just trying to think of, for uniformity, for analytics, for ease of use, is there I don't know, is there some like extensible, straightforward method of representing an experiment across the who, what, when, where, instead of the way we're doing it? Anyway, not for now, but just something to think about. It's probably a question for Subodh and Tativik also.
But then what you're saying, Avi, is basically what any LLM will give you directly then. So if you simply ask, okay, I want to sell this product, tell me who I should sell. It will go figure out which demographics are more useful, and then it will tell you that. But then what we are doing is other way around. Like, you don't know, let's say, who those demographics are. So you want to test on certain things. So if we start doing other way around, then it loses what we have.
Well, I'm saying, can we ask the LLM to select which traits to test? And in a way that's grounded in the data that we know is available from all of the data brokers.
So that's the motivations end point, let's say, which Florian's working, right?
Yeah.
So the initial version we had was following. We'll pass the why question, we'll pass the where, right? And then we'll give some history and say, tell us what could be the psychological construct which we can use in this context. Then we decided to change that, and I'll get back to why we did this. So, but now the way we're going to do is following. We'll pass the question, the context, and we also just pass the labels of the attribute, and then ask the LLM to give us the psychological construct which will be applicable in this context, given these are the features I'm testing for. So for an example, the way this will be more grounded in reality is as follows. So let's say the question is, I want to test the factors affect the choice of an electric car. Okay, and let's say the features we have is safety and range, two features that we generated. So now if range and safety are the two features, then we should have some psychological constructs which to in a certain degree will capture the effect of these things, not directly on the electric car, but on some other stuff, right? So for range is in a way is like your risk taking or risk averse behavior, right? So you could ask people, do you always fill up your tank when you go for a long ride? So questions like this to understand their risk behavior, right? For the safety, you could ask in this context, because it's like driving on the road and the safety relates to the accidents and all. You could ask like, do you bicycle on a mixed traffic lane versus just on a bicycle? So right, so if these are the features, then these are the kind of psychological constructs you could use in the context. If you change the features, so instead of having, let's say, range and a safety rating, right, you had something like
Price.
Price is one. What else is more relevant in the context of, let's say, how much time does it take to charge the vehicle, right? Now, if charging the vehicle, it's going to burn some electricity or some consume some energy. So now what could be the other construct which you could use probably here is the maybe environmental consciousness, right? So even though you are not burning gas directly, you are using electricity or some other electricity to charge up. Now that electricity might be coming from some which source. So then maybe in this case, people would like to know the source. So now it's a different psychological construct which is at play here, given the features have changed. So now this is how we're going to generate now, and this is how Florian is working now. So now what we generate, so psychological construct is nothing but a extension of trait to your behavior, right? So then they will be more grounded given the context and the attribute.
No, I love that. I love that. I guess I'm just asking from like when we represent both the experiment and then when we represent the results, you know, is there a way to make that to make the either the JSON or the lists a little bit more representative? Because at some point, like maybe you can run that same exercise, that same trait exercise on when and where, although when and where are not in the 2001 McFadden paper. So I guess you're saying when and where would be like a history or a constraints variable.
I mean, when and where is again something to be tested, right? So let's take the again electric vehicle example, and one of the feature is the safety aspect of the car. And let's say the way you describe it is follows. Number of accidents per million miles driven. So let's say the numbers are like 5 or 10. Now, if you show those values to a population which is from developed world, right, like US and Europe, now that 10 per million mile might be a big number for them. But if you show the same number to somebody living in Asia, that number is a very low number. So now if you did the same survey, you will find that the safety feature is not at all important when it comes to a choice of a car in Asia, let's say, versus in the Europe and America. So the same feature, but just by changing the when, given the population is different, and hopefully LLMs are able to replicate that, given people think differently, we should see that difference. So that's more of a validation in some known context. And if that stands, then you can actually test for the context which have not been tested. So I think when and where we should leave it as it is. This is more of an experimental thing.
So it's more of a dependent variable.
Yeah.
So okay. So the okay. I'm trying to.
We could include, but then that will require a lot of changes to the UI. So let's say we pass the when and then ask it to generate the features, which we do even now. And let's say in some case it did not generate a range or something in that, or accident related features for certain regions. Now the user might think, okay, something's weird happening because this should have popped up. Then we need to basically display all the reasoning that LLM would have given us why it did not include it. That means so much changes in the UI in a short term.
Yeah. Got it.
Because even now we do have all the explanation, we just hide it, like we don't show, but everything's there.
Well, exactly. One thing I was thinking of, like when we ask for the LLM for a response, like I don't know if I don't know how much value this would add, but like when we ask for the response A, B, or C or whatever, one through six, do we also ask for a sentence that explains why they make that choice, or ask for the sentence about why they make the choice and then the choice? That might help the LLM, frankly, think. And in the end, we'll have all of the reasons why, and then we can like run an LLM across the why, across the responses, and then see if we can extract any insight. Because by asking them the why they choose the letter, like not only should we get a stronger signal to noise ratio because of the kind of working memory of the explain yourself prompt. But then we also solve all of the qualitative questions that we could possibly get.
So I had this task slated for the, what's his name? The one I interviewed, New York or Penn State. So I talked to him, and that's what I mentioned him. So we only ask yes or no on some probability, but we could ask these things and then use these things to actually figure out. So let's say you get this data, right? And then we have the reasons. The LLM gives us why. That may shed a light on what kind of mathematical model we should be using to model this data rather than we assuming anything. So it's like, should we use the models from compensatory versus non-compensatory behavior? So that could come out based on what it's saying in the background. So then rather than having rigid in terms of which model, same model being used all the time for all the data, we provide the flexibility saying, okay, actually, given this is the reasoning, we could actually go for this type of modeling and probably provide a better estimate of the data.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
But those things will happen in time. I think at the moment, even just to bring all these things together and show it in a final analytics page itself is a good step.
Yeah. And Subodh, I'm putting together some Upwork projects. I'm pretty much just like creating. I'm asking. I'll schedule a meeting with you to discuss, but I want to create like a little UI where the users can upload their own personas, products, and competitors, so that when we're grounding our experimental design, we can maybe use those resources as well in the process. Also for like future work. That's great. Okay. Madi, nice API.
Yeah, well, the good things about our code base will is also coming. We are constantly improving it, and it's getting into shape.
Yeah, I'm really optimistic. I'm really optimistic. I don't think I've ever been this optimistic before, and I'm typically quite optimistic. So, Bod, another thing I might need your help with. I'm getting a lot of people asking questions about how is this different than just prompting an LLM? How is this not, LLM
I
wrangling?
mean, I was gonna say this to Sarah as well. Like when she was talking about how it's different from typical LM, like literally show the whole analytics page with the numbers. Like ask any LLM, can it give you all these numbers? That basically is the main difference.
Right. It's inference time compute.
Yeah.
You know.
There's nothing qualitative or subjective about it. Like you have the numbers, everything.
Subodh, would you be interested, or anybody here, would anybody here be interested in doing a quarterly patent? Is that like at all interesting to people?
But don't we do like the whole product as one, or is it like each sub module is one?
We did the whole product as one, and we have that that kind of November 2022 date, but even just as you're describing, like ask the language model qualitatively, based on that qualitative results, determine compensatory versus non-compensatory models. Like something as straightforward as that. Like we don't have that in our patent. Like there's all these little innovations that we're testing. Atish has a half a dozen experiments that he's going to run on the traits. Florian has a half a dozen traits he's going to run on the traits. Each one of those could potentially be included. I don't know if it's something that's important for us. It's kind of a distraction. It doesn't produce a lot of value, but it's some people like having patents. I was just gauging the interest of the team. I like papers more than patents, frankly, but
how does it work? Like, can we just ask for patent based on based on a concept, or or you have to prove put the numbers?
The 2015 Alice laws really made design patents more or less useless. So you have to have the numbers, you have to have the code, you have to have a working product. That has made patents quite a bit more difficult. But I mean, nothing we're doing is conceptual. We have the code, we have the results.
Yeah, but I think to get this like really big ones, right? Like ability to infer the behavior and then the model, that will require us to first implement all those and then have the numbers.
Yeah.
So we will see. So this is what also has happened. Of course, we only tried 5 or 6 experiment and tried to fit a latent class model directly. Uh, nothing came out of it. Now, I don't know if that will hold true for even if we tested 50 experiments versus once we generate meaningful psychological construct and incorporate that as a definition of persona, and then ask it to make a choice, the LLM, and then use a hybrid model approach to come up with a latent class. Will that give us a meaningful latent class? I don't know. Maybe not. So let's say if it gives, then at least we know at least Kantar has a big article where they say that they ask this normal straightforward question, and then they say LLMs can't replicate at subgroup levels, which basically means they are not able to infer latent class. But maybe if we figure out that using the psychological construct which does give latent class, then okay, then this is how you need to do it. Then we could apply for a patent that okay, this is how you need to do if you are in the behavioral research domain. So once we have those things, and then we start testing, and then let's see how it then pans out. Because then we can replicate some papers who are based on that framework and see how good or bad we are able to do it.
Okay. Can you share that Cantor paper?
Okay.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
I love all these like mega market research firms putting out research saying synthetic data doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. They've been doing that for 30 years. I think I think the fact that their jobs depend on synthetic data not working is maybe biasing their communication.
But it also has to do with the way they use synthetic data. So generally, they use for sample boosting. So it's like, okay, I need to have, let's say, 1,000 samples in order to do some analysis, but I only have 500, right? So then all they're going to do is use the 500 and fit a GAN. That's what most of the data generation
But that
is.
doesn't improve your signal to noise ratio. That doesn't do
So,
anything.
yeah, that's just interpolation. There's no extrapolation in that. And then they will say, oh, by even after boosting, I'm still the same. Of course, you will still be the same. There is nothing extra you are adding to the data. So it also depends how you are adding to it. I mean, you can't generate dependent variable using GAN. Like that needs to come out from somewhere. So it's also that I've heard from people. I'm gonna paste this thing here in the chat. I think this is the one on the Cantor, which says
Spode,
in
I
some domain.
love when you get sassy. Love it.
It's not sassy, but it's like simple math. And then you say, oh, it doesn't work. Of course, you know it's not gonna work even before you're going to do it. It just doesn't make sense.
Oh, I've seen this paper. This is an old one.
Yeah. I think nothing after this.
Alright, I'm gonna read this again. Fairgen is working on signal boosting.
But that is also more of a straightforward data generation. They are also generating the dependent variable. Now, I don't know to what extent. Maybe they have a different method than GAN, possible. But eventually, if you end up generating the dependent variable, then there is no addition to it. So it's good for like a descriptive analysis, or you can say, okay, I generated some, I got some. So the standard deviation or mean changes a little bit here and there, but statistically, is it really different without adding the boosted sample? Mostly not. So mostly the market research company who do this descriptive analysis, they will use that.
The boosting?
Yeah, sample boosting.
Right.
And that's what I was saying. So even in SampleCon, when you go, right, like this is how we should differentiate ourselves, that we are not just about adding data to existing data. It's like really creating data from scratch in a very systematic way. So this is, you can't call us like sample booster or something. It's very different. And it's not just for discrete choice kind of thing. We can do it for any kind of dependent variable, because this is the framework that will hold. right. I think we're way over the time. Let people go. I think we're good then.
Yes, sir. Guys, that was good. Subodh, as usual, thank you for teaching me. Do you want to come to LA, March 22nd?
I need to apply for visa. I haven't done
Apply
yet.
for a visa.
I'll apply. I'll apply.
Okay.
Very cold. I haven't been going out too frequent.
LA is like literally on fire right now, so it's gonna be quite
Yeah.
difficult. All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. Let's be in the channels. Work in pairs. Get Subodh and Mahdi and Tatvik, whatever they need. I'll see you guys in the channels.